For more 14 days.
PPTs will be shared to the mail.
All the laboratory facilities under this project. So, to tell about Dr. H.P. Babla sir, it goes on continuing. So, he served in various positions. He also served as a librarian with all those administrative service. He did not leave his interest towards the organic farming and natural farming. Till today, he always is having affinity towards having the research on organic and natural farming. Such a wonderful resource person is with us today morning. On behalf of all the participants, on behalf of the Shivamogga University of Agriculture and Horticulture Sciences, I cordially welcome Dr. H.P. Babla sir for our training program. And I also request Dr. H.P. Babla sir to deliver a talk on soil health regeneration through ecological approaches. Sir, these are all our participants from 6 different SAs of South India. We have multidisciplinary team of scientists, started from agronomists, horticulturists, soil scientists, plant protection specialists, even social science like extension and economic subject scientists are also here. They have all undergone 11th day training schedule till now. This is our last day. So this is in brief about the introduction of our participants. Now you can start your lecture, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Profusely thank Dr. Virana. He is instrumental in Good morning to everyone. Good morning. I profusely thank Dr. Virana for elaborate introduction that he has given. So that is what affinity towards him is, and we worked together in one of the projects, Government of Karnataka, that is the natural farming for sustaining the livelihood of the farm families across the agro-climatic zones of Karnataka. It is for all the 10 agro-climatic zones and the 5 universities together. I think some of you are the collaboration him. I think for last 10 to 11 days, I think you are enriched with the knowledge and you have complete insights of natural farming or organic farming, I hope. And different eminent peoples have addressed you for last 11 days. So this is the last day of the program. And really, I would have come during the first 1 or 2 days, I think, as per the schedule. But I have to attend one meeting at KSNUAHS, that is CRF organized the Trust for Education for New Era, that is one program was organized by KSNUAHS and All India Agriculture University Association in India. So we were there. So I'm able to attend second day, I think, of your program as per the schedule. Anyway, I want to interact with you. That is, I think there are more of interaction than my presentation. I think many of the things that is what I am going to deliver through some of these slides. I think there may be a repetition also. Please bear with me. That is because many things have repeated. That is always there, and still I think the natural farming or ecological agriculture is in infancy, or you can say it is developing field. So you are all, that is youngsters, I think future is with these systems, and lot of transformations are going on now. So people are more tuned towards the ecological approaches. So there will not be what Dr. Veerana just told in the introduction, that is there may be a confusion about the organic farming or natural farming or many other that is systems, that is farming systems that you are even doing research on these aspects, or even in your teaching courses, curriculum, you might have included them. So we have many things that is based on which are mostly towards the ecology, environment and other things. Those things we have to accept. So that's how there not be much deviations or difference between these different farming systems, as we can say. So I'll just go through some of the slides and what the research has been done in organic farming, natural farming for last, I think we started the Organic Farming Research Institute at 2004 at US Harvard, the Institute of Organic Farming that we visited. So under RKY project, that is the beginning of RKY. That is first project on the RKY is, I think, with we got that time. That is simultaneously US, Bangalore and Harvard. We are the only two universities, and later on, that is the institute and research institutes were developed at different universities also. So that's how the organic farming research in the country, that is almost about, we can say, about 15 years from now, that is about 17 years, that is this is a developing area. And as such, now even at national level also, new education policy also, there is a lot of discussion, and in the course curriculum they want to introduce more of natural farming, organic farming systems, more of skill oriented, practical oriented courses need to be developed. So it is there that discussion was almost half day in NAS complex it was discussed. So the future there is a need for ecological transformations, and in our agri-food systems there is a need to lot of changes are required. So in this direction we have to think, and I think it is most appropriate that you have been introduced this subject for about 12 days. It is really, we are lucky that because when we deal with in our course curriculum regularly, in most of the department disciplines, we are not much tend towards this natural farming or ecological agricultural principles practices. So even though the ecological principles practices established long back, but we are not following it, or the farmers are not adopted those practices, even though we suggested, we recommended anything is in addition to the fertilizers. We always say that the application of organic manures, green manure, there are usual practice, and those things nowadays, as the commercialization or with the industrial agriculture, or sometimes we say directly chemical farming, the farming become mostly chemical farming, because if you go to the rain-fed agriculture, that is almost 100% is chemical farming. No one is applying any organic manures. Only some of the systems that prevailing, they are following, and only to some extent crop rotation and some of the practices with that we can think of. So into these, and Dr. Shivamogga, he is from Harvard. He is one of my best students for his PhD studies at Harvard, and he has done for his almost 3 years of research on organic farming. He is contributed and developed the organic practice for cotton, especially for so, and published more about it than it was organic cotton. And the same organic cotton practice has been accepted by cotton. That is the National Organic Cotton Board is there. Actually, for that we have given that recommendation, and Ministry of Textile is now recommending that organic cotton in many of the programs in the program. So here I would like to say that is this slide. So many of the practices that we have, actually there will be a lot of discussions, because India is a food secure country because of many practices that we have nowadays. So we have become almost number 1 and number 2 in many of the commodities. That too, agricultural commodities like rice, wheat, maize, we are number 2 in the world. And in milk and vegetables we are number 1. And we are almost producing 55 million tons of food grains. I know we are exporting food grains, and mostly it has been because of the technological interventions that we try to be doing, that is farming, or you can say the green revolution technologies that have been adopted to a great extent. So there is always, we have achieved a lot in agriculture. So why there is a need for this transformation in agriculture is required? That's the one big question always, many times we discuss in many forums. That's what. But only the 70-90, that is the effect of this intensive agricultural systems or practices. Some of the effect of this on the soil health is most important. So there will be effect on the soil health or overall degradation of the land. So out of we have 3.8 million area, almost there has been observed that 120 more than 120 million is being considered as degraded, almost 6.7% as per the latest indices report. Has been observed is due to many factors. It is not only agriculture alone. So there is a desertification has happened because of the degradation of the forest or the land degradation, soil and degradation, it is erosion, and given the soil organic matter. So what we have around 40 years, 50 years back, the organic matter content of the soil. So it is almost in the records is there. We have a average of the national level, it was 0.8 or 0.9% organic carbon in the soil. But present the records indicate that around 0.36 or 0.4% of the organic matter. Almost it has reduced to half. So that has made a great impact on our agricultural production, and that's how I thought that is regeneration of soil is required, and the decline in the nutrient efficiency, what the figures, even though many we have the watershed programs and other programs. So there are a number of watershed programs have been organized and through different schemes, but even then the 82 million hectares because of the soil erosion, because of the erosion of the soil has happened, and it is a major problem, and some areas that to intensive agriculture that we can say in Indo-Gangetic plain, and even in our state, Shivamogga project area, Krishna, UKP, and one other project areas. So there is a lot of the soils have been affected by salinity, waterlogging. These are some of the problems that we are facing today. And in the international level also, the UN also pledged actually during 2021, almost a 2030 declaration, they would say that it was in 2021 UN Food System Summit. They have given clear direction, that is for the development, UN development goals out of 17, that is development goals, SDGs. So 7 are towards the agri-food systems. 7 of the goals, they are almost yet not, is what each country has to have his satisfaction with respect to the environment, that is they want an inclusive economic development, that is then the environmental and even social inclusion. That is where the recently had even 2023, 24.6, that is the taking moment they have reviewed the UN food system summits recommendations. So that is where the promoting awareness and sustainable food systems is considered as the major first area in United Nations UN also. That is how the most of the national level, international level, local, regional level. So there is a need for soil, that is to save the Mother Earth. That is what even there is a different foundations and different NGOs and even different organizations, even Government of India also. They are now moving towards, that is the save Mother Earth is the major first nowadays, and this can be happening only by the soil building process. So how to build the soil? That's what the first now given for natural farming, organic farming, ecological farming. So these are the areas where and increase the crop and animal productivity is again diversity, then the natural process on the farm. So these are all ecological, based on ecological principles if you adopt many of the things when we study. So there will be a lot of natural processes happen in the soil. Only we have to create a favorable environment for the soil biolife or the soil biodiversity, flora, maybe fauna. So many things will happen in the soil if you say the announcement process. This can happen through this two farming systems. It is what we can say the organic and natural farming, where it is in organic farming. Always we say that it is not just substituting our nutrients or the plant production practices from chemical to organic. or natural. So here more importance that we have to give is the farming methods. What farming method we have to follow and farmer has to adopt. So that is most important, that is instituting farming methods, even Howard himself, when he is written in his book Agricultural Testaments, he has indicated that instituting the farming methods is more important for organic farming or ecological agricultural systems. So there they given the importance for the instituting farming methods, where we can bring a lot of changes, introduce changes in our farming system. Within farming systems, we have to bring a lot of changes can be brought out. And the resources, that is, we have to integrate the methods with the proper recycling, on-farm recycling of the resources. That you have seen in Harvard, that is our Bio-Research Center. From 2006, it was established till now, that is for about 17 years, that is, it is 100% on-farm and resources. There were no addition of any external inputs, almost 100%, even the additional quantity of vermicompost or compost or other manures produced on the farm can be used for other research or other purposes rather than bringing it anything. So there is no, that is use of, or you can say the on-farm management of resources we have to do importance. That's how it is possible through the proper methods and also instituting better integrated organic farming system, or I am pressing upon integrated natural farming system also. So this is where the regeneration of the soil, even in under principle of conservation agriculture, conservation agriculture world over, it is now being adopted, and in US alone there is more than about 100 million hectares. World over we have about more than 180 million hectare area in conservation agriculture. So some of these principles from different farming systems, why can't we take in our natural farming or organic farming? So organic farming or natural farming were not restricted by boundaries. That is, we can adopt other practices or principles that is there in agriculture. So best practices we say always good agronomy practices. So in these 6 practices, that is strategies, if we adopt on a farm, so certainly we can minimize the use of the external resources. So that's what we have to think of, that is minimize the soil disturbance or minimize the use of chemical inputs, then maximize the biodiversity, both animals and plants, then always keep the soil covered. That is most important thing what I have experienced in over about 15-20 years of research in natural farming or organic farming. As we keep the soil covered, that is, so almost over 50% of the organic matter can be saved. So exactly in tropical climate or semi-arid tropics like this, that is temperatures rising to 40-45 degrees Celsius during summer months, so the soil temperature will be almost 6 to 8 degrees higher than the atmospheric temperature. Then the loss of organic matter of the soil is can be protected or conserved by minimum soil disturbance. And we observed in our 8 years of conservation agricultural crop. So the surface 0 to 15 centimeter of the soil is considered as most productive soil. So in these, whatever the changes that will take place in organic farming and natural farming is change in the soil structure or its in the different its properties is the surface 0 to 15 centimeter of the soil. So the if you do the organic matter analysis or organic carbon analysis for different depths, if you have a soil cover and certainly 0 to 15 centimeter of the soil will be much picture, and it will have a very viable in conditions, and they can conserve more water, and the organic carbon content is almost, we can double the organic content we have observed about if you have a soil cover, minimize the soil disturbance, and keeping the soil covered with the crops are still much. We have the different cover crops evaluated in different farming systems. In maize we have evaluated cover crops, in cotton cropping system, in sugarcane cropping system. So many cropping systems, cover crops have been evaluated, and the residue mulch and cover crops and the minimum soil disturbance. So these three practices if we follow, we can conserve as much as organic matter in the soil. Then the other advantages, that is, we can minimize the use of chemicals or biodiversity. Certainly it will improve. Certainly it will improve. That is, once you conserve water, you conserve organic matter. So naturally, our all soil biological activities, our enzymatic activities, they will be improved. So then this is not, and later on we can think of refining the technologies, location-specific technology that we are doing now at different universities or different active centers. So that will be there, and to local environment, the technologies develop. So this is how we want to make our ecosystem that is more sustainable and resilient. So these six principles, strategies, if we adopt, certainly the regeneration of the soil happens, and there will be improvement in this, and this helps to, that is, the build-up of the soil. And many times in organic farming and natural farming, the questions will be asked how you meet the requirement of nutrients. So the plants will not make any difference with respect to its nutrient, that is foraging of different forms of nutrients. So it will be an ionic form, everyone of us knows. So there will be mineralization will happens, and there the nitrification or the direct fertilizer can apply. So this is where these, that is what the six strategies that we adopt, and some of these practices if we follow, certainly there will not be any problem with respect to nutrient management that we observe, especially the nitrogen. So nitrogen, you all know that 78% of the nitrogen is there in the atmosphere, and most of the fixation will happen, and this we have to improve the environment, the soil environment, and if we produce more of biomass on the farm, so try to produce more of biomass. Maybe I will give you some of the slides are there, that is to present how we can improve methods, practices that we can adopt, so through that we can improve. So some of these build the soil organic matter. So it did not happen in 1 or 2 years. So that's how the long-term studies are required in organic farming and natural farming. Even the government of Karnataka, they have just told validate the natural farming practice in 2 years. So he said that it is just impossible to conclude, validate. So that's how we extended it to 2 years, under 2 years. So after 4 years, we can able to view some results. Trends, that's what we are told. So these are all not the natural farming recommendations or packages. So just they are validated the crops under natural farming, which are the crops can be grown or better suited, or which are the crops which can give early response, and which are the crops can give a response after some dates. So this is how we can think of it, is reduce the soil disturbance, reduce in the cropping system and crop rotation systems, certainly add nutrients to the soil. And one more thing, that is, we are not giving much importance for the manure handling. So manure handling is a big topic. Even you can see in the library a book on manure handling, how to improve manure handling methods. So all composting methods, all fermentation process, all liquid organic manures. So many of these practices we can adopt in improved manure handling practices. So that is most important aspect, because the loss of, you can say, we have so much of the dung, the urine that we are collecting. So most of it is, there is a reports that more than 50% will be lost in handling process only. So best manual handling practices can be adopted for better. So in natural, I will just do 4 or 5 principles, which ecological principles, which suits to our natural farming or organic farming practices. That's what we are interested. So one important thing that is we adopt all in thing, that is the soil condition. That is the present day, even in irrigated agro-ecosystem, in rainfed ecosystem, both the situations, the soil structural conditions have been deteriorated or degraded. Soil physical condition, mainly because that is more important than supplementing nutrition. That is, everything depends upon a good soil structure. So, good physical condition of the soil. So, structural stability of the soil is most important, and it will give, that is response. That is, whenever the other management practices if we follow, if the soil structure is good, then we can get the response to other management practices. So present day what happened, that is this soil compaction and crust formation. So you can see in almost all the red soils there is a soil crust formation is most common, and the compaction also, that is in most of the soils. So our root depth is restricted, our rhizosphere is very much limited. So it is very narrow, and even if there is a dry spell of around 10-15 days, the plant starts weathering. So this is how the response, that is, we are not getting over any management practices. That's how the response or our the efficiency of nutrients is low. So your irrigation efficiency, or fertilizer use efficiency, or other management practices. So that's the soil condition is most important. For soil condition, very good indicator is its bulk density. Unless you take it for granted, that is, you do simple analysis of bulk density, it will indicate its structurally how stable it is. So aggregatability and other things, they are not there, that is, you cannot do it. So aggregatability and even the penetrometers, you can find out the penetration capacity. So that is the hardness of the soil. But the organic carbon, bulk density, I consider these 3 important parameters are most important one. So in our study, in 2014 we started, in 2005, almost after 9 years, we can able to see there is improvement of organic carbon in different farming systems, in groundnut, sorghum, or soybean, wheat, or transition zone of Karnataka, that is zone 8. So in Harvard, so we found that there is almost 62% improvement in the soil organic carbon. So now recently one of our students has submitted. So he has reported from this same fixed site almost 0.85% of organic carbon. So almost it is double now, 100%. So if it is stabilized at 0.8%, it is really great. So it is very difficult to manage the organic carbon content in our situations. So for that, many methods, practices we have to follow. So there will be a slight improvement, around 61% improvement in the maximum operating capacity, and bulk density is reduced by around 7%. So this is really wonderful. That is, if you reduce 1.2, it is considered as the best bulk density. As far as possible, the soil is the most friable for and that the aeration will be most appropriate. So those conditions can be achieved. So if you improve your basic, that is our soil physical condition, then the soil fertility conditions, that is nutrient status. So in these studies, almost initially we have 250 kg per nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So our sulfur. You can see here, even 100% organic with legume rotations, So in all the cropping systems we have legume rotations included. So there will be improvement in 250 kg available N380P. So this was almost successfully done 2 seasons in a year for about 9 years. So these results clearly indicate that there is a need for reduction in the application of the organic manures in these fields. So particular condition, that is, if you achieve a particular level, so then you can think of reducing. That's how we reduced now to 75% and 50%. Even in ASRP network project on organic farming, trial only, they have even reduced it to 50% one block they have made and 75% in another block. So how much organic manure you can save, and that can be extended to other area. So this is how the overall the nitrogen, that is the fertility status of the soil, can be improved over a period of time. This can happen, and you can observe here, that is the last one, 100% inorganic irrigation. There also it is possible to sustain the soil fertility. Only legume rotations. If it is not possible to apply the fertilizers, because as per the UN report, the life of the soil, they have given in the report clearly that only for under 60 years, if the same practices are continued. So for 60 years, otherwise it is again there will be a challenge for, or you can say there will be a problem of food security, what we are facing earlier. So this was the report, that is under 50 years if you not correct it, the present practices of soil management or nutrient management. So again we may face the crisis for food in the world. So looking to this, even these results clearly indicate that even with only limitations, with only inorganic fertilizers only, so it is possible to maintain the fertility. There may not be possible to improve it, but at least we can maintain this. But certainly we can improve with integrated INM, means where we have followed 50% organic and 50% inorganic fertilizers, integrated management. So certainly there also the improvement, and one experience 100% organic system also there is improvement. In EPP extract or micronutrients also analyzed. You can see the green bars, they are all showing compared to initial values of red. So there will be improvement with all the three systems, that is. So even legume rotations can improve. And one more thing, that is, if you improve the soil organic matter, soil physical conditions, certainly it can help to have a better activity, that is what we observe in soil arthropod population. Certainly improved here. The P5 is inorganic, 100% inorganic, but the organic 100% and 75% organic, which have been made, and 50% organic. So these three excessively have the higher the population of these soil arthropods, that includes many longolans, all the other species. So some of the practices that is the field of tenure where I put it up. So soil organic matter management and crop rotation in cotton cropping system, where we are almost 9 years continuously in cropping system in incorporated its residues. So after 8-9 years, almost the yields with 100% organic are stabilized to 50% organic, equal to 50% organic, similar. So the residues will contribute to a grade. So that's how in conservation agricultural principle in US they are corn soybean system. So more than 120 million hectares they are doing with conservation agriculture with corn, soybean, strip cropping or 1 year crop rotations. The yields are stabilized over a period of time. So residue incorporation continuously for about 20 years almost now. They are following more than about 150 million hectare area. So the availability of nutrients, how you can think, that is very good physical conditions, soil microbial activity, uploading capacity we have improved. So this nutrient availability in the system, so it is highly location specific. You have to have that design or modules that have to be developed for location specific. So you only can you know that you have heard Bill Mollison's, that is, what is his principles of permaculture principles. So he recommended more than 1,000 designs. He traveled in India extensively, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh and several locations. So he recommended different designs for different agroclimatic situations. Similarly, we should design for nutrient restrictions, for requirements, for rice-based cropping system, it may be different, cotton-based cropping system, it may be different. That too under rainfed situations, because present rainfed situations are starved. That is, they are even both nutrient starvation or even the water is both facing, and they are even practicing that is what you say that DIA, low external input agriculture. They are not even applying enough chemical fertilizer also. You agree with that? Okay, in rainfed areas to make a survey, so they are not applying even our recommended fertilizer also. So how the soil can sustain the productivity? So there is no biomass production. So you might have seen whatever the productivity that we are having about 20-25 years back, similar productivity is there in rainfed, there is not much improvement. So most of our food bowl that is that we are getting is only from rice, wheat, maize. So these three cropping systems, 120 million tons from rice, 111 million tons from wheat, and about 50-60 million tons from coarse grains, some of them. So this is how the situations, for different situations, we have different ecologies and production environment for develop different practices. That's what this is, and feed the soil rather than the crop, and the nutrient management schedule. We have the different practices, organic manure, they may be very old, but they would still now, that is promising organic manures, compost, compost, many of the manures, liquid organic manures, because when in the beginning, when we evaluated and presented our data, that is, there is a lot of decline in crop yields. We observed in natural farming, almost 25-50% reduction in the yield in the beginning. In organic farming also in the beginning, we similar thing. But after 6 years, 7 years, certainly in organic farming, they increase the yield, and the results have been accepted. And US Harvard, we are the first to publish the practices for organic farming. You know that about 17 crops we have the practice for organic now. Because on similar fashion, because we got better results. Even farmers, I surveyed more than 200 farmers, success stories, and documentation of organic farming practices we submitted to the government of Karnataka as well as India. So that really, that's how has given a way to develop the policy on organic farming. Most of the organic farmers, 200 organic farmers in Karnataka, most of them, their fertility status is maintained because their efficient use of these liquids or better handling of their residues, that is, animal residue or plant residues. So this is how the, because most of the nutrient release pattern also being studied by many of our students. Nutrient release pattern in our project also we have done. Nutrient release pattern in vermicompost, in Ghanajivaamrit, in FOIM, compared with their compost. So the vermicompost nutrient release pattern is excellent. So it will be available within 15 days. Most of it, 50% of it is available. And there will not be any problem. But for compost or farm and manure, it may take around 25-30 days for getting released for 25-30% of its nitrogen. So there, these liquid organic manures helps to that is meet the nutrient requirement of crops when there is a demand is high. So during flowering or during the grain development stages, so nutrient demand will be higher. So at that stage, there will be these liquid organic manures helps. In one of our study at Vijaypur under 1920, before even that is in some of the crops cropping systems we found that natural farming. So for the government of Karnataka from zone 3 and zone 8, we have recommended almost 2 yield, then crops, that is not much reduction in the yield, hardly about 8-10% reduction in the yield, they found better. So this is where we got the, so most of the practices have indicated compared to chemical farming, all these farming systems have performed better. So this, that is, we have to think of changing our farming system, and we have to think of the phasing out our chemical fertilizers from fields. So that will be required for the future. So this we have to plan, and in even net returns are also higher with these systems compared to only chemical farming. In other farming system, the program staff are also from similar results. So these are some of the practices for insect, you almost said for cultivation, apartment funding. So these are you are seeing there at our Bio Resource Center. This vermicompost unit, every year we need to produce nearly about 120 tons of vermicompost. So from the resources there in the farms. So 120 tons of vermicompost if we produce annually with such a unit of around 5 hectare on the farm of 40 acres. So certainly it meets the nutrient requirement of the crops. So 120 tons means per acre if you apply it will be 3 tons. 3 tons of vermicompost recommendation is even higher for our pulses, and is most optimum for even maize or sorghum crops. So these you have seen, and what that is after doing all these things about nutrient management, soil health management, soil structural management, then we have to think integration of natural farming is required. Some points I just give later we can discuss. So this is how I thought that is in natural farming we can think of introducing some of the best organic farming practices or other approaches. So application of vermicompost, green management, crop listening management. So those things we have introduced and find as integrated natural farming system rather than only natural farming system. So just to differentiate with natural farming system, it is not much change we can observe. So that is where this is most suitable for, because in the integrated farming system only we have to know now, because our holdings are very small, that is 917 holdings, 9 holdings are less than about 1 hectare. So 85% the approximately they comes, and 80% are marginal, 92.8 are very small, one less than 1. So these are most required, that is where conserve natural resources and protect the environment. For that we have to think of these agroecological principles. Now in the world, most buzzword people, scientists are even asking, even under GIZ project, one of the German collaboration project they want to introduce in Karnataka. So okay, I think you may be going to now these projects, all universities they want to work in that, all KVKs, all university design research centers with the farmers scientific research it is. So this is most of it is ecological studies only, agroecological studies. So here the agroecological principles you have to adopt, that is what I have said earlier also, biomass recycling, and then the immune system, farming system to functional biodiversity. What type of functional biodiversity? So what functions the farm should do? So when you go to a plan for any farming system, so it should be productive function, that is. So productive function, and what other functions you can think of? So protective functions it has to do, and any further multiplications. So this is how you have to think its function, that is. You can do the conservation of water, or the biodiversity is a function of a system. So this is how we have to increase the functional diversity on the farm. Number of enterprises that we have to include, our farming systems, crop management practices. So these are the things we require, enhance the soil conditions and managing the organic matter in the soil, minimize the loss of energy and diversity in basic resources. So these 5 actually we have given for agroecological ecological studies that will be a strong foundation for our farm, for the research. We can think of fertilizer extra inputs we can minimize and grow soil fertility, protect the environment, all low input, low risk farming. In practice, there are low risk farming systems. Present day, the risk in farming system, what we have observed in zone 3, even if you go to Naragun, in just a few days back we have traveled along with our drought monitoring team. So many of the maize crops have died. So fail, that is so such a very sugarcane, a cropping system in even hill zone as well as in zone 8 or in zone 3, in many areas the productivity is almost sugarcane this year 50% because of low rainfall. So such of the risks are there in the farming. So those can be reduced to greater extent, that is self-adaptation technology or mitigation technology to drought is possible because it can give better climate resilience and harmony with nature. So these are some of the ecological principles we have to adopt rather than any of the organic farming or natural farming. So we have to think as agroecology, and then we have to plan our location specific planning. So in agroecology, the methods of farm intensification well being given agroecology. So once, what I noticed in our farming systems, once we conserve water by better practices, so it may be broadband and cover, better green management, crop rescue management, cover crops, and improve the organic matter, soil fertility, nutrient status. Certainly, our crop intensification is possible. Not the present, it is the crisis, or the present discussions regarding drawback of natural farming, there will be yield reduction and other things. So this we can overcome this, and we can intensify our cropping system. So that's what biological intensification or ecological intensification is the next phase of natural farming and organic farming. So it is possible once we intensify the production system for about 8 to 10 years. So that's much patience, that much efforts may be required, but that has been achieved by many farmers that we have studied the results. I will go through some of those results also. So this is where we can have eco-friendly and natural farming. Certainly we have to fetch a premium price also, that about that certification and premium price so strengthen the ecology, environment and quality food. So concept of food is also changed now. People require quality food, but so who has to produce that quality food? The vegetables or other fruits are. So this is where a natural farming or climate mitigation adoption technologies. So this I told that is certainly we have surveyed even organic farmers fields regarding during drought years. So there is a better mitigation and adaptation for the climate that is change situations in organic and natural farming. Some of the farmers experience also. So this is where we talked about this Shivamogga and mulching and crops are. So this is where Shivamogga in natural farming we are practicing. And this farmer, that is exclusively I am very fond of this person, farmer, it is Malaysia District of Shivamogga, Haveri. Anybody has visited his farm. So for the last 15 years he is maintaining his farm by organic natural farming practices. So even during drought years, even we have a farmers interaction made of the entire village and surrounding villages with him. So during even 2011-12, there was some crisis, so that is the rainfall was low. So during those years also, 3-4 years, 2011 to 15. So in that period also, so he what he does, the Shivamogga he prepares and stocks like fertilizers in the bags. Weekly he prepares this Shivamogga. So this is, he say that best manual for his chili crop, cotton crop, chickpea and green gram. That is, his chili was rated as best quality chili in Cochin. That is where there was exhibition and mela for chili, and these prices are always best. You get the best prices.
He is a very well model for many people, and this microbial, this is what in our farm we have divided into different blocks in our farming system. So here we have this block is pigeon pea system, this is a maize system where we have the different practices follow. So the surface covered by pigeon pea and soybean during summer are the maize stalks we can leave, and this will protect our soil cover, and we found lot of the soil our earthworm population is much higher, and this practice still you have to have a research, you have to view in research point of view, that is this FAFSA principles. What I have read and found that the plant roots even absorb the water in the form of water vapor. So there will be, that there will be constant exchange of gases takes place from the surface and the soil, because that 50% of the soil pores are micropores occupied by air, and 50% of the pores are with water when the optimum moisture conditions at field capacity. So always it will not be there in the field capacity of our soils. So that 60 to 70, 80% of our pores are always with air. So there should be a constant exchange of gases takes place from atmosphere, air and soil air. So for nutrient exchange, that is even the nitrogen fixation, there is a need for the exchange of gases should take place, and even for moisture. So humidity is high, atmospheric humidity is whenever it is high, so then roots can also absorb the water vapor present in the air. So that's how we have earlier we are that is can say that is the rabi crops in black soil area. If you go, that is even after sowing there are no rains at all. So on residual moisture we can harvest a best crop of sorghum, wheat, safflower, chickpea, many crops, rabi crops. How it is possible? So this is possible with WAPSA like system that will be prevailing in a atmosphere, that is in the soil, if soil is rich with organic matter and there is a very good aeration, low bulk density, and the proper exchange of gases should take place between atmospheric air and soil air, and always the irrigation should be given the root tips, not for the main roots. So because white roots you can observe whenever you dig the soil profile, rhizosphere, so always white roots are more active. So they will be in search of air always. So whenever there is a flooding in maize field, you can observe about 10 days if you in a standing crop maintain the moisture, the roots will come in the surface, white is seen the surface will be completely white. The roots they will be there. So that's how this system should be prevailing. So this is where that's how surface, there is 1 foot of that is that 15 centimeter of the soil is very important. So if you make the 15 centimeter of the soil most friable by regular mulching practices, certainly it will help to moisture. That's how the water, you can water from the atmosphere, so not from through irrigation. So that is possible. So this concept is also adopted in natural farming or ecological farming or ecological transformations. This is one thing we have to give importance, that the roots keep it active, soil should be friable, there should be proper exchange of gases should take place, and the water vapors should be, that is the roots can absorb it and maintain its vigor or turgidity. So this is where the technology is for IMSS, that is liquid organic manures, and in agroecological farming most of the modules they are agroforestry based. So if you introduce agroforestry you know that there are different types of agroforestry systems. There may be the sequential system or simultaneous systems. Okay, so simultaneous systems are always good, because in a farm we cannot have the sequential systems. So in simultaneous systems we have the alley cropping, hedgerow cropping or border cropping, trees. So these are the things. So alley cropping, hedgerow, barrier ridges, scattered planting. So these we should have in our farming system concept. We should have these three components with us, and they help in N fixation, nutrient cycling, soil nutrient input, and reducing any toxicities. That's how drains, bio drains are also there. If you can, Acacia acalyformis or many have tried, even in the north, many of the tree species have been evaluated. So this, we tried this hedgerow planting. So hedgerow of the Glycidia. Actually, when I am coming from here, Dharwad, that is, today I have seen lot of the Glycidia all along the bunds people, that is, farmers have planted. So Glycidia is the boon, that is, you can say, for our farms. We substituted almost 30-35% of the nutrients through Glycidia. So on the bunds, on the your wastelands, even in our one of the farmer, Basavaraj Hutsannawar, in our near Dharwad, so he is planted about 3 acres of 12 acres of his farm with Glycidia completely, and using it for vermicomposting, because it is a shallow soil and not much productive. So from that he is getting lot of residues, and he is putting into vermicompost and producing more than 100 tons of vermicompost, and he is telling that every year whatever the salary, that is, sir, you are getting, or the employees are getting, I am also getting, and even annual increments like that, I am increasing my income every year. So this is how adopting the technology possible. So 35% of the nutrients can be substituted in our model we have indicated. That is what I would like to say. This is what the hedgerow. In our field you might have seen. So this is a soybean crop is there, and hedgerow of Glycidia. So in a year, how much biomass you can expect from this? Minimum of 12 to 15 tons of green biomass we can add regularly to the soil if you put a hedgerow of Glycidia at around 30 meters interval across the slope. If we are plant, Yeah, that is all along our field boundaries and in the field bunds. Even we have put that block, you might have not gone, that frustrated, that is the Glycidia was planted in contours, on contour line we have planted the Glycidia in 4-acre block that was taken as a demonstration block. So there we found this is very good, and the root system also we have studied. It will not compete with the crops. So Subabul, it will compete to some extent, it has surface root system, but Glycidia root goes deep. And even one more principle I would like to tell you, that is nutrient holding on the farm. So what do you mean by nutrient holding? So throughout the year, the process of this mineralization, nitrification, these things will go on. So there will be nitrogen release will be there. So if there are no crops, it will be lost. So leaching and other losses. So this can be recycled back. It will be held in the green tissues, and this can be cut and incorporated into our field. So this is excellent. And also you can evaluate in your PG student studies or in demonstrations or wherever. If you put in between the crops Glycidia mulch, in cotton, in pigeon pea, or in any other crop, sugarcane, maize, and then on this Glycidia you spray Shivamogga. Okay, so the results will be really excellent. What we have observed, best growth, what we have observed, even cotton yield up to 20 quintals per hectare under organic farming. under rainfed situation in black soils of Dharwad. So this is possible. So this is what the practice we see here, the cotton and glycidia mulching is done. On this you spray this, and the weed management in natural farming, present farm, that is a contest, that is, it is the most problem. So if you put this, it will manage the weeds. Just intercultivate at 30-35 days and put this Glycidia mulch completely. This is the green leaf manuring from outside. Even we can grow the lucerne along with cotton. This, and even sunyam. So this is sunyam grown along with cotton. So at this stage, this is around 25 days, you just cut it and put it as a mulch, sunyam. So that will add to the soil. And one more, that is the biomass production. From where it will come? People will question for the where you will get so much of biomass to substitute your nutrients, NPK. So it can be produced there itself on the farm. So as a crop or on the bunds on the, so this is where in one of the study almost 10 to 12 tons of biomass as intercrop in cotton we are produced, 5 tons of the green biomass produced in lucerne. So much of nutrients it enriched. In rain-fed sorghum in Vijaypur, we have grown sunyam in sorghum, that is sorghum below and sunyam, and at this stage you just harrow it in between, so it will add biomass to the. And one more study, this is really good for those, because maize is having maximum area, this reason. So maize you can introduce cowpea as a cover crop. So there is no reduction in the yield. We evaluated for 5 years. That is Kiran Kumar, one PhD student also done, and Vidyavati, that is 3 people have done on this. So this is the cover without cover crop, where we can see the weeds, and here the cover crop cowpea. So it is almost 8 to 10 tons of cowpea, that is biomass is produced, and it fixes around 50 to 60 kg nitrogen, and it will supplement to maize. So maize yields, first year there is no improvement, but second year, third year, if you follow this system, there is improvement in the maize yield. So in Malaprabha, Ghataprabha project area, what happened? For 10 to 12 years they have grown cotton like anything. They got minted money, maximum profits they got. Then cotton yields were reduced. They shifted to maize. Now for last 10 to 12 years they are continuously practicing maize. Now the maize yields are also reducing. So there is a need for rotation. So if the farmers are unable to do it because of some other agronomic reasons, so they can think of at least a rotation, introduce cowpea as a cover crop, and sunyam as a cover crop also tried. In pigeon pea system, because pigeon pea almost 8 to 10 lakh hectares now in Karnataka. So this area, this we can think of green gram in cowpea intercrop. And one more study, crop intensification study being done in Dharwad itself, cotton groundnut intercropping with broad bed and furrow practices, broad bed and furrow and cotton intercropping. So it is highly productive. So this is where the biological intensification I am referring for. So even under organic system, we can able to get about 20 quintals of cotton equivalent yield. Our next picture shows pigeon pea soybean pigeon pea equivalent yield of around 20-25 quintals per hectare. So they are highly productive systems. So the systems we have to develop by proper practices. So this is the pigeon pea after harvesting of the soybean. You see here broad bed and furrow, and in the furrow there will be good conservation of water, and after harvesting of soybean we can see the good crop, that is pigeon pea growth. And another system, this is where we have conducted experiments in where we have visited biofarm. So in the same farm, that is sugarcane and the green gram, that is paired row planting of sugarcane and 4 rows of green gram, even you can think of 6 rows. So here I have seen sugarcane, very close planting. So you can think of 4.5 to 6 feet or even up to 9 feet. Have some legumes as intercrop. And one more thing, you might have busy with some forms you have given. Okay, just let it be. The one of the system where we have tried the maize and the pigeon pea strip cropping. Why we have planned this experiment? Strip intercropping, because now the labors are scarce, are not available, costly, so they are now going for mechanized harvesting. So one of our PhD student, Kiran Kumar, he has done on strip intercropping of pigeon pea with maize under organic or conservation agriculture. So here they got a very good response, that is. So strip intercropping, so that we can maintain our soil fertility and soil health. So in rice, mung bean rotation and soil microbe plant interactions, you can have that. So this is new area of research. If you plan microbiologist, if you are those who are microbiologist or even agronomist, soil scientist, they can think of this. So usually the root exudates play important role in nutrient, that is mineralization, its acquisition and mobilization also many times. So this can be enhanced because the root exudates, they produce lot of sugars, carboxylic acids or amino acids or other metabolites. So they help in microbial proliferation, diversification, their number. So this is what I can say that called as rhizosphere priming. If you use the word rhizosphere priming in Google, so you will get lot of information on these soil plant microbe interactions. So that will play important role in organic farming and natural farming. Ecology and environment, what we are talking about, it will happen only when we will get these beneficial organisms. So their, that is population or number, and depends are their biomass, microbial biomass carbon, microbial biomass nitrogen, all those things you can quantify. So through better rhizosphere priming effects we have to get. So this is where you can see here more than 200 carbon compounds are there. So this is where there is a research is required in future, and this is biological nitrogen fixation, P-solation, mobilization are there. There is a lot of phytohormones. There are number of reviews you will get on these studies are going on. So in our biofarm, what we have observed biological nitrogen fixation. This is what potential, even ICR, ICRISAT 1 report, Dr. Vani and his associates have studied. So this report, you can see here, a crops like soybean fixes 9 to 450 kg of N per hectare. So there is a nitrogen that is we need through fertilizers that we have to think. So I think these are some of the organisms. Even in our Rudra, he needs experiment also, he has isolated these organisms from the soil. So there is a lot of these activity being observed. Even they found more than 60 to 70,000 earthworms per hectare area. So this is where the need for transformation. And about research validation, I think a lot of things have been covered with this. Dr. Virana might have presented these things. That is our Dr. Chandrasekhar for Zone 8, where we have done research validation for research. And these are the crops: Rabi sorghum, green gram, soybean, chickpea, pigeon pea. The yield reduction is less than about 15%, 20%. About 4 years, after 4 years. So this can be easily taken to the natural farming if you have any programs. So there is not much reduction in the yield, and the yield can be enhanced. And some of the crops like bajra, safflower, the yield reduction is high. In the beginning we may not venture to it. At least these crops we can think of under rain-fed and irrigated chickpea, soybean, maize. They performed very well under natural farming in our validation. So natural farming and organic farming systems have higher soil biological activity indicate the beneficial microorganisms and their population, enzymatic activities, and some of the farmers participatory study also I would like to use. That is, we evaluated 20 farmers, organic, 20 inorganic farmers, conventional, and 20 natural farmers. Totally 80 farmers are selected in our area, where different their practices have been documented, and I will show you one table. Just this is a table you can see here. So natural farmers and organic farmers, you can see compared to chemical farming or conventional farmers field. So why they become the role models? We visit those organic farmers field, natural farmers field. We found that they are very good and sustainable. They are climate resilient. They are most viable. So that is because their soil fertility status is being improved over a period of time, and cost of production is reduced because they are doing all on-farm activities. So this is where, and one more success story you can find in Dharwad Kalgati district Taluk. We have the more than 100 farmers. Of such farmers we have introduced agroforestry system. You can see here 1997, 2009 and 2021 data. What are the changes are happening in their field, and they are most economical now, and they are even visited by even World Bank team or many scientists or many students, many programs they are visiting these fields. So all of you please listen, that is this success story being that is, you can see here the importance of trees. He is having only 3 trees, now he is having 1600 and 2100 in an area of 3.5 acres. So much of that is risk in farming has reduced, and his income have been increased, and he can even during drought years the trees can provide an income, additional income to lead his family. So horticultural crops have introduced, and some of these, and overall income and vermicompost. So this is how the animals numbers have increased from 1999 to 2009-21. So there is not much change between 2009 to 21 in 12 years, because it is stabilized. So such a farming systems we should have. And one more farmer, Nagappa Agarvunje in Kamplikoppa in Dharwad district, he is also having just about 1.5 acres. So his income is more than 8 to 10 lakhs per year from 1.5 acres. So he has about 10 to 12 animals he is maintaining. So his entire farm is only trees, horticultural crops and forage. Complete 1.5 acres is forage completely. So he maintains a very good breeds of Kilar breed, and he sells these Kilar young bulls every year. And so this is hybrid Napier, Lucerne. So these are all very shallow soils. So such of the systems we have to change. And from the same field, this was complete hillock, one hillock of 16 acres. So 4 or 5 farmers were there, Madiwali family it is. So in Harugire village, so they were all going to labors. So when we adopted first time organic village program, we adopted this village, and this hillock we want to transform into a very good plantation. So then we dug, that is with BIF association. So they are all implementing agency. So entire hillock of 16 hectares was surveyed, made a contour bunds, and on the contour trenches have been opened, and all the contour trenches were filled with water, and water conservation has done first in the beginning, and next step the biomass has started generating, and all these contour bunds that have been opened, trenches at around 10 meters interval, they have been planted with sapota, mango, guava and other trees, and all field boundaries with tree component of around more than 1,200 acre tree species. So this is how the degraded barren hillock developed as intensive, highly productive and agri-horty silvipastoral model in Karnataka, that is. So these fields of 16 acres is now full of green. It is just like heaven, people will observe when they visit that place. So this is, and almost all 4 farmers, those are going as a laborers, they are now staying in the farm, on the farm, and they are self-sustainable. So this is how we have to transform. So this is how the some of the government programs also you should know at present. The National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, PKVY is there, and all these. Now the government policies are changing. Now National Mission on Natural Farming, under this National Mission on Natural Farming, so Ministry of Agriculture Farmers Welfare, they want to take up almost 1,500 crores they have earmarked for next 3-4 years, and you can think of that. And finally, some of the policy issues or recommendations that I would like to suggest, that is the benefits of ecological services to achieving greater complementarity and synergy in and making our farming system as integrated natural farming system is the way forward for future sustainability or livelihood. And ecological intensification is possible. I have shown through some of the slides, and you can think of all in crop intensification is possible, and you can increase the productivity. So there is a cost of cultivation can be reduced to a greater extent, and you can increase the income, and the premium price can be given. There is a need for interdisciplinary research. This is what the way forward for this group, I think, for training program for about 12 days. So there is a need for interdisciplinary research is needed to have a better livelihood to the farmers. So that is required, because the farmers are under crisis now because of climate change issues, and also there is a lot of degradation has happened. So there is a need for some interdisciplinary research, that to some transformation, that to ecological transformations, that is ecological transformations are required now. So ecological transformations through some of these practices, and we have to have deliberately tailored to the agro-ecosystem, that is our agro-ecosystem concept should be known. So with this I think I have taken more time of your last day. You are hurrying going to your places of work, but what I will say that looking to these slides, what type of is it, organic farming or natural farming or what? Integrated natural farming. So that's what our vision should be, because many times the people will confuse. Even in our first instance, our plan was natural farming. Only 4 ingredients were used: Bijamrita, Jivamrita, mulching and Vapsa. So we thought that we should have one more treatment we included in our studies. So fortunately we got better results with integrated systems than only natural farming, what it means. But don't think that natural farming, the government of India has also changed its concept. Even I have been to manage for interaction. So manage is the knowledge partner for natural farming, National Mission on Natural Farming. So when we interacted, the government of India representatives are also there. The government of India has changed, not it is any Subhas Palekars or only the natural farming with these 4 principles. So we can have a wider adaptability. Best practices what agronomists or soil scientists or other disciplines till now we developed. So those can be practiced, those things can go hand in hand, and we have to develop some agroecological transformation is required, and the present aim of the government policy is slowly phase out the chemicals from our agroecosystem, because you all know that our agroecosystem is degraded and it is polluted, we can say, that is from the fertilizers, chemicals, nitrates, or with the pesticide residues. And recently what I have seen for last 4-5 years, rampant use of herbicides. Even we have seen in our Western Ghat region, that is same place, this one. So in Yellapur, Sirsi and Siddhapur area, what we observed, so lot of the people are afraid to drink a water flowing in a nala, because he is telling, sir, they are spraying this herbicide above this and there is a continuous rain. So what it is washed out, that is all herbicide will be polluting our streams. It is joining the that is bodies, water bodies. So they are afraid of drinking water, even though we will say that Western Ghat water is coming from forest and it is very good for health. So it is for all our medicinal, aromatic or other plants, biodiversity is there, and this quality of water is good. But people are afraid to drink that water also. The people are carrying water from their own home in hilly areas even. So this is the state of affair now in agroecology studies, and people are very much now aware of these things and they want to change, transform this. So this is what I found, that natural farming or organic farming, it is agroecological farming systems we have to adopt, or there is a need for agroecological transformations by better methods. So with this I think it is one way or some interactions in between you had, but anyway if you have any doubts we can interact. So it is I am very happy to share if I know, or all of us together to have a platforms for discussions and future also wherever you go, and you can discuss on these issues. So information is available now, and many of the Western world is now looking for such studies rather than doing only the conventional systems. So they have left the conventional research, I am telling you. So many of the big companies, Bayer people have came few days back, they have entered into seeds, Bayer seeds, and also they want to go for green labeled pesticides. So nano green nutrients, nano green pesticides they want to develop. So they are all comes from nature. So I think this is the present scenario of the natural and organic farming. So if you have any questions, you please. Thank you. Thank you for patient hearing, and I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to share some of my thoughts. Thank you.
Any question from participant?
Sir, as a person who is involved in policy decisions, as you told, you are a person who was invited for manage to make some policies regarding the natural farming. What was decided, sir? At the end, it was natural farming or integrated natural farming to be taken forward in the country?
Madam, that is really good, because we have to threshold these things, strategies we have to have better. So integrated natural farming is the good for our that is to have the better crop productivity point of view, and also it is ecologically sound. So two things we have to consider to adopt any practice. What I feel personally, one should be economical and ecological. So whichever the practice you feel yourself, it is ecologically sound and economically viable. So those things we have to adopt. It may be natural, it may be organic, it may be ecological farming, or even biodynamic farming is there, or permaculture is there. Many systems are there. So we have to think why we should restrict ourselves, our boundaries. Don't fix our boundaries. Farmers have no boundaries. So we have put boundaries for ourselves. So adopting particular system. So one person, that is why if you propose natural farming having only 3-4 components, means started following those practices. But farmers, what I have observed, one of the farmer, that is Rajsekhar Nimburgi in Bijapur district, you might have seen, anybody can see his farm. So he is having 12 acres, he is getting minimum 12 to 15 lakh rupees per annum. So without any cost, and he has involved, we have prepared his success story and submitted to Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, they have published. So this is where is 100% natural farming, but he is following all organic farming. He is producing vermicompost, compost. He has 12 animals, and all dung and urine he is recycling on the farm. Green manuring, agroforestry is having, and he is producing the lime nursery. Is having lime nursery, getting from lime nursery only he is getting 3 to 4 lakh per annum, selling nearly about 40-50,000 lime seedlings from Koppal, Ballari, Vijaypur, Bagalkot, Belagaon. Many people are getting these planting material from him. So that is where we should not restrict ourselves to this, and we have to think ecology and environment, and we have to think the productivity and intensify our farming system. From the beginning it may not be possible, it will take time for transformation. So that should go slowly, that is, so biological transformation we have to make, and certainly it is integrated natural farming, or we can say in many words, that is because the policies are there, the government is promoting with some framework. So natural farming means why should they include everything? That's only can say natural farming also include everything, good practices in that. If a policy is there for natural mission or natural farming, means certainly we have to accept it, and we can include. There is no harm in including whatever it is good practice of soil and water conservation starts in rain-fed areas, because our first target is in natural farming, organic farming is rain-fed areas. 50% of the area is rain-fed, and those soils are more degraded actually. Rain-fed area soils are degraded because they are even not applying even enough fertilizers because of risk of failure of crops. So yields are very low. So there the migration of people and other activities, it is more. Okay.
Crop rotation with legumes crop, you have shown the table number 2nd, that is the nutrient enrichment in PK and sulfur.
Yes. Yeah. So certainly the soils, if you analyze total phosphorus, it will be 500 to 600 kg in the soil available, and not available, it is a fixed phosphorus. So for last 50-60 years we are continuously applying, and there are native minerals also, you know, well, and even with respect to potassium also we have minerals. So there will be lot of soil biological activity going on. Secondary metabolites are produced, some unique substances are also produced by microbes. So those solubilize the phosphorus present in the soil. So certainly it will meet the requirements of the crop. So when the government itself has announced during 2000, I think 11-12, when the DAP prices have announced, immediately they have brought a policy of use all the farmers pea solubilizing bacteria, PSB. So different programs, the NCOF and different organizations, they are providing throughout India. So that is because the organic farming, that is the natural farming, if you improve the soil bio-life activity, soil microbial activity, certainly there is no dearth for nutrients. We have to recycle whatever it is possible, and if the soils are infertile originally, that is, so then we can think of addition of rock phosphate to some extent in twice in a year or thrice in a year can be done. What the coastal people will do, rock phosphate in Sirsi, Siddhapur and Sagar, these areas, they will apply rock phosphate to their areca, rice, many crops once in 2-3 years. So that can be done. That is natural mineral. That can be permitted under natural farming or organic farming or any of the studies. So there will not be, that is, so this is how the soil activity, soil dynamics should be changed.
Sir, one question, sir. Since you are being a senior most agronomist and being involved in organic farming for so many years, when we started studying agriculture scientifically, we started comparing farmers' practice versus recommended package of practices. That means most of the universities are ICMs to develop recommended package of practices, that is integrated nutrient management. That means it involves biofertilizer, it involves organic manures and fertilizers. Over the years, we started studying organic farming. There, nutrient management or nutrient requirement of the crop is met out through organic sources. That involves solid, liquid, reduced cultivation, mulching, everything, sir. Agriculture being itself is an artificial way of creating favorable environment for the crops. It itself is an artificial. Then why calling the organic farming earlier when we studied solid also? In that liquid we have studied Bijamruta, Jivamruta, mulching, everything was there in that organic farming also. Now the term natural farming and calling organic farming separately, whether it is quite confusing to the farmers, even for others, because we have studied all those things now. It was included in the Bijamruta was included and it was studied. Jivamruta was included, it was studied. Mulching known for all. What are the advantages of mulching? Everything was known except the word Vapsa. We know that the favorable condition, soil moisture condition, field capacity, that should be almost 50% moisture and 50%. Everything was known fact only. Now because of the word natural farming or due to some movement in the country with respect to the natural farming, everybody is turning into the word natural farming. What is your opinion regarding this one, sir?
Okay. So frankly to tell you, so many of the farmers who are in contact with me and many organizations or university, so when we documented their practices, they are all organic farmers. Okay. And when the people are thinking now the changed policies and other things, when they say natural farming, they start saying that hey, I am a natural farmer. So I am practicing for last 15-20 years. So these things with time and with the government policies, they differ. But practically, in principle, the practices are organic farming or say natural. But one thing, there is a difference in organic farming, natural farming. People started commercializing the organic farming. So they started selling different products commercially and making money out of that. Even products like neem based pesticides, they are different names they are selling. or any other thing, this is happening, that is. So it is tuned to more of commercial ventures, organic farming. So to make it, the government thought the cost of production, that is. So the cost of production, people are commenting, without following any ecological principles, if you purchase vermicompost, if you purchase compost, and then some botanicals or biopesticides, it may be verticillium or it may be other, many are available now, Bavaria, metrrhizium. So when you purchase everything from outside, so then certainly cost of production will be higher. So then people are arguing that organic farming is the most commercial venture, and those people want to export, they are following this organic farming, and the cost of production is more than conventional agriculture. So in organic farming principle itself says that it is on-farm management of our resources. No external inputs. Same concept is in natural farming also. That's how finally they come, this principle is better, because that organic farming has certain guidelines. They cannot change it. Okay? So the government might have thought at the higher level, and also suggestions from many organizations. So they make it natural farming very broad, which may include organic farming or other principles also. There will not be much change as such in the principles. So that's how this the concept has natural farming, but no difference. What I feel, they are two faces of the same coin, we can say, and practice which is good for the farmers and environment. So that's our aim and goal. Okay.
Any questions? Sir, as per my perception, we have failed to convince many farmers to bring under either IFS or the organic farming. In this situation, is it possible to convince the farmers the further than the organic going for the natural farming in a larger scale, sir?
Actually, many of our clusters, when we started developing under natural farming, so this question was raised, and many farmers themselves are already, they are in the mood of natural farming because of the policy and programs. Certainly there will not be any hindrance in accepting this natural farming by the farmers, and this movement will go now, I think so. Yeah. So there will not be any problem, and you have to educate them. That is most lacking in India. There is farmers' knowledge. So that's how most of the things need to be training first in the stage phase. So they have to be educated about organic farming or natural farming, and how they have to proceed in this direction. So there will not be any problem. That is what we can think of that.
Sir.
Thanks,
Okay. Thank you.
Dear friends, I think since from 10 o'clock to up to this time, Sir has elaborately highlighted about the soil health management through ecological approaches, and also some other information related to organic and natural farming, some policy decisions and some management practices. I think all of you had a wonderful information, and also all of you had a healthy discussion with Sir. On behalf of all our participants and on behalf of the University of Agriculture and Horticulture Sciences, I profusely thank our resource person Dr. H.P. Babler Sir for actually Sir wanted to finish off his presentation when he had been to US Dharwad. But I requested him, sir, your presence is required here itself, so that you can take much more time and elaborately you can highlight about the activities. And sir will also be the chief guest for our valedictory function. So with all his busy schedule, actually sir is having so much of work in the headquarters. In spite of his busy schedule, he could make it here. And for this, for his presence as a guest faculty, guest speaker for this technical session, I wholeheartedly thank once again Dr. Bablan sir. Thank you sir. Thank you very much. Actually, we wanted to have 2 more classes today, but all of you are expressing that it is to be completed before lunch. That's why we are skipping the other 2 classes. One very important class on certification.